Hey guys, thanks for tuning into Cars by Chance. In this video we have a 2017 Volkswagen Golf GTI. This one is owned by my buddy Michael and let me borrow it for the video, so shouts out to Michael. He's had this car for about a year and has put 5,000 miles on it. So this car was actually created in the 1970s, in 1974, with the first generation being the Mark I. So this generation here that we have is the Mark VII, the seventh generation of the vehicle. This one comes with the bigger engine than the previous generations. This one does have the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with the power going to the front wheels. This actually does 0 to 60 in about 6 seconds. This particular configuration is the 5-door configuration. Now, as you can tell, there are only 4 doors from what we can see, but they call the door in the back, the hatchback, the 5th door. There are also a 3-door configuration that you can get with this. So this particular model is the Autobahn trim, and what you get with this is you actually get the top of the line trim. So there are 3 different trim levels that come on this vehicle. So the first trim is the S trim. Second trim, so S is your entry level trim, where you start off with the price being relatively low, around $29,000 or so. Then you get up to the SE trim, and then of course to the Autobahn trim. So with the Autobahn trim, what you get is the Fender audio system. You get built-in subwoofer in the back with the Fender audio system. You get what's called the DCC, which is basically sets the stiffness of your suspension. So based off of different drive modes that you select, it can go in and change the stiffness of the suspension to be a more sporty feel or a more comfortable feel. And this one also comes with the adaptive cruise control. Comes with navigation, heated seats. You get all the steering wheel controls, push button start. You get a 6-speed manual transmission in this particular trim. You get a moonroof. All of the different features that you would want basically loaded out. So this is top of the line for the GTI trim. You also get the leather seats, which is very nice as well, and you have plenty of space within this vehicle. So it ends up being, for what it is, a very, very practical car in the compact car segment, but you also get that fun of the turbocharged 4-cylinder that can get you 0 to 60 in 6 seconds. So it's still pretty fun in a compact package. So let's talk about the features of this car. Once you get into it and you're sitting here, you're pretty surrounded in almost this sort of everything that you're sitting in here. All of the gauges, all the display, it's all facing towards you, the driver, and that's always really, really nice to see when you're in a car, because everything's oriented towards you. When you're driving, you want to be driving on the road. You want to be looking out, but you also want to be You also want to be able to quickly go through and change some of your settings, or adjust this or adjust that, and everything's just kind of right where you need it in this car, and that's what I really, really like about it. So in this particular trim, actually this particular model, the fuel economy numbers, you should get about 24 in the city and 34 on the highway. When you're talking about visibility in this car, it's actually really nice. So on the A-pillar, you have a split A-pillar where the bar does come down for the door, but there's actually almost like a little peephole between the A-pillar where you can see out in front of you, so you don't really see too much of occluded vision in the front of the car. The line of the windshield comes up very nicely, and you have very good visibility. So me, I'm 6 feet tall. I can see very, very well outside of this car, and as all around you, you actually see very good. I actually have very good visibility. And if that's not good enough for you, this also has the blind spot monitoring system. So if you do feel that you don't have good visibility, those blind spot monitors are going to keep you in your lane. As far as space in this car, you look around and you actually have a very, very fair amount of space. Now that seat pillar in the back is a little bit thick. That's where the hatch closes, and that's probably where they maybe needed to do some reinforcement on this vehicle or something like that. As far as that's concerned in the back, maybe that's a little bit of a hindrance for you. However, this is a 2016 model, and it does come with the backup camera. So that's also the benefit of the Autobahn trim, or the higher trim level, is you get all of these nannies and features to help make sure that you don't injure this car. So the backup camera is very, very helpful. It's a very, very cool design on the backup camera because the Volkswagen logo is actually where this backup camera lies. So when you put it in reverse, the little thing flips up and you can hear it flip up and the camera pops out of the bottom of the Volkswagen symbol. So that's very cool. All of the different features that are in this car are very accessible. There's nothing that's too far away that you can't really get to. You know, the glove box is within reach. All of the different features here, you know, everything that's inside the storage bin in the middle is very, very good. You know, you got plenty of space, plenty of storage space, and you're not really wanting for space here. The map pockets here on the side of the vehicle actually provide you tons of space, so you could fit a really, really big water bottle in here in the front. You know, you get these 2 cup holders here in the middle. You're actually a decent size as well, and the shifter is up high enough so you know most of the drinks that you're going to put here in this middle cup holder should fit, and you won't really be wanting for space with this shifter. I will say, I mean, if you get like a Route 44 drink at Sonic, obviously you're going to be wanting for some space, but hopefully you'll be in a different car and not trying to sling around a huge drink in something like this, because most likely you're going to be driving pretty spiritedly, if that's a word. So anyway, this car, the gauges are very nice. I like the font of the gauges. They look pretty good. You know, I'm very consistent and kind of picky with the things that I like. So while the tachometer has the same font size all the way across the spectrum, when you're looking at your speedometer, the sizing of the speed indicator, so if you go from 0 to 20 to 40 to 60, those are all the same font size, and then you get a smaller font size when you go 10, 30, 50, 70, 90. So you do see a little bit of variance in the font size. It's a little bit, you know, for someone who's like me, who's a little bit OCD, you know, it kind of gets to me a little bit, but obviously that's something you can get used to. Now the infotainment screen here in the center is actually very helpful. You can see a whole bunch of different menus within this infotainment screen. You can see your range, travel time, distance, speed, oil temperature, your economy. You can see all of these different pages. You can also go to your assist systems. You can see your navigation pop up here in the middle, audio controls, telephone, vehicle status, a lap timer. You can see your driving data. You know, all these different screens here in the middle are actually very, very helpful, and they don't seem to be too much of a distraction while you're driving. The way he sets it up basically is he just has his driving data up while he's driving the car, and so he can see his fuel economy in real time. I always like to see that to make sure that you're driving very efficiently, or somewhat efficiently, as you're driving this car. This one does come with the automatic headlights. It comes with fog lamps. It comes with, I mean, just about every single bell and whistle that you could ask for. The infotainment system is very nice. It's laid out very, very well. I don't really have any complaints about this, except again for my OCD kicking in, because when you're looking at the volume knob and you twist the volume up or down, the power symbol for the volume knob actually turns as well. So whatever the last position is that you had your volume knob in, that's the position that your power button is in. And to me, it kind of bugs me a little bit. Other than that, there's really not a whole lot to complain about. This is a touchscreen system. It's very responsive. I really don't see any sort of issues here. The navigation is easy to get to. It's very quick. This has this really cool rocket ship button where if you press it, you zoom out really, really far. And you can kind of get an overlay of the city that you're in. It zooms out temporarily, gives you this sort of bird's eye view of where you are, and then it zooms right back in just a little bit closer to give you an idea of where you are. So that's very helpful, especially if you're in a new town. I like this frameless, bezel-free style rear view mirror. It's got the compass built into it digitally, but it also looks really good because you have tons of visibility and you're able to see behind you very, very well. So I like to see that too. Here on the top of this, top of the stack here, you get your lights up here that are very easy to press. You can set the lights for the doors. You get your sunroof, and it also has a cover. If you wanted to close the sunroof, you can pull it up and you get this mesh cover on the sunroof. Now there's no actual close on the sunroof, but you do get this mesh visor to go ahead and get some of that light blocked out. So that's really cool to see on there. You also get to see information. You can hit this middle button here. There are 3 buttons that are lined up. One on the way right is your SOS. You get your wrench looking option up there, and then you also have an information button you can press up there as well, and you get your sunglasses storage up here as well, as is expected in almost any car. Looking at these visors, the visors are very nice. You have a slide open mirror, so you get the vanity mirror on the driver's side with the light. That's very nice. And you can also pop these guys open and they will extend and telescope out. That's also very nice to have while you're driving. Passenger side is the same thing. So honestly, overall, this is a very nice place to be when you're driving this car. It's very comfortable. While it is a small car and you feel like you're sitting low, you never really feel like you're too small. You know, you have plenty of space. You don't really feel cramped in here. These seats, I'm 6 feet tall, I'm 175 pounds. You know, it's holding me in. The bolsters on this seat are very nice. The leather is a little bit firm, so if you don't really like the firm kind of leather feel, this may not be for you. But they're sporty enough to make you feel like you're where you want to be. Now, these are very adjustable. You have lumbar support that you can increase. You can also move the lumbar up or down. You can move the seat up and down. You move the back of the seat up and down. Full power, and that's very, very nice. Okay, so that's about it in the front. What we'll do is we'll hop in the back, kind of get a good view of layout of how the back of the car feels, and then we'll take it on the road. So for backseat space in this car, there's actually a fair amount of room. So you get the additional doors, obviously here in this trim, and I think they're really worth it. So if you go here in the back of the car, you actually have a fair bit of room. Make sure I don't sit on my microphone. So you actually have a fair bit of room. So like I said, I'm 6 feet tall and I'm sitting behind, how the passenger seat was oriented, and it's actually very similar to how the driver's seat is oriented. So here you also get your own vents, which is really nice to see. You get a mat pocket that's a fair size, and then here in the middle, you get a nice fold down armrest with really good padding, and then you get 2.5 cup holders. So it's actually a really nice place to be. I don't really have any complaints about it. I could sit back here comfortably for hours. So it's a really, really great spot to be in. So here in this DCC mode, you can select the different driving modes that you'd like to be in. So here we're in the normal mode, but you could switch over to dynamic driving, which is your sport setting. You can have a custom setting, or you can go to normal, or comfort. You can go to comfort. So here we leave it in normal, typically for most driving. We'll set it to comfort mode. We'll do some driving in comfort mode and kind of see how that feels. So the clutch has a very easy feel. It's very easy to navigate, very easy to get in and out of gear. The only thing that throws me off is I'm used to the clutch in my car, which is 2011 Camaro SS, and you feel a lot more of the clutch rebound that kind of fights you back almost a little bit. This one's very easy to put into gear, push the clutch in, you know exactly where that shift point is. It's a very nice car to drive. And then right around 3,000 RPMs is where that turbo starts kicking in and you really start feeling it. So comfort mode felt pretty good. We'll go ahead and move it into sport mode for dynamic driving. Whatever they define dynamic as.
Yeah. Must be a catch-all word for a lot of things.
Yeah. And the gas pedal has a very interesting feel as well. There's a lot more resistance in the gas pedal versus the brake in the clutch pedal. The clutch pedal obviously has the least resistance, gas pedal has the most, and the brake is somewhere in between. So it is something a little bit to get used to, but once you get the hang of it, it's cake. Okay, so we're in second gear. We're gonna leave it in second gear and just kind of see how the roll is getting on the interstate. And now we're in sport mode, we'll go full throttle. Here we go. Okay, so there's 75, and that happened very quickly. And as it's searching for grip as you're trying to accelerate, you can kind of feel it go on, but there's not a lot of drama while it's doing that. So it's a very consistent, smooth acceleration up to the speed that you're trying to get to. And there are two full-grown men in this car with a full tank of fuel, so maybe that adjusted the 0 to 60 time. but it does feel very good once you're on the road. Even in sport mode, it doesn't feel all that aggressive. The suspension doesn't feel like it's chattering your teeth away. It actually feels pretty dang good. As we're cruising along at 60 miles an hour, we're pushing 2,000 RPM here on the tach, so even the gear spacing is pretty good as well. Brakes have a nice bite at the top of the pedal, feels really good, and the steering has got a good weight to it as well. Okay, so one thing we've just discovered is the navigation senses your hand when you're about to touch the screen and brings up the menu and options buttons as you put your hand closer to the screen. That's smart. Give it a little bit in first here. Little bit of wheel spin there, and that may have been the way I was shifting, but very fun nonetheless. While it's mostly drama-free, it does give you a little bit of drama, and I think that's what you look for in any enthusiast's car. Tight turning radius as expected. So these GTIs also come with what's called the DSG transmission, which is known as a dual clutch transmission. Some people get those. I'm really glad that this isn't in this vehicle because it isn't as fun to drive. While the shifts are faster, you get the dual clutch transmission, you don't really have ultimate authority of what gear you're in, and that's where the manual gearbox comes into play. You actually have to pay around $1,100 more to get the DSG transmission. So even in fourth, when you're doing a roll onto the interstate, you know that that power is there, and you really don't have to search around for it. Almost zero blind spots on this. Like I said, it does have the blind spot monitoring system, so you're not really going to be in a situation where you might run into someone. Michael has successfully driven this a year in Dallas without running into anyone. That speaks for itself.
Yeah, that's an accomplishment.
So what are some of the takeaways that you have from owning this car for a year?
I think it's just a really good balance of a kind of a practical everyday commuter car. With it being fairly fuel efficient, kind of compact design where it's easy to park in most kind of urban parking situations, but then also like Steven was talking about, if you want the power, there's a different driving modes. And just driving it a little bit harder, you'll get the turbo to kind of engage and get kind of that more fun sports car feel to it. So it's kind of, I like it's kind of a good mixture of both practicality and a little bit of fun too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the additional doors really help as well because you get all that. You can haul people around if you need to. You can fold the seats down if you need to, and you got the hatchback, so you get that extended practicality there, which I think is really, really helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
My brother had a 2015 Golf R, and in driving his car, there were most of the time that I was driving that car, I was fearing for my life because it has 292 horsepower as opposed to this one, which has 220. So you get an additional 70 horsepower for around $8,000 in your price difference of the two cars. So, you do get the all-wheel drive in the Golf R. This one you get the front-wheel drive. So it's a little bit heavier in the Golf R. This car weighs around 3,000 pounds and you're getting 220 horsepower. And the torque is the big number where you're getting 268 foot-pounds. So, you get a lot of that power, right when that turbo kicks in, and you're feeling a lot of it. You're feeling that drama without, being scared for your life in the Golf R. Now, if you like being scared for your life on the daily, then I would recommend the Golf R. But if you're driving around in the city, cruising around, and you like to have a little bit of power every now and then, right when you get on it, right when you command it, I would say this is the perfect car for that. Okay, so there we have it. We went on a road test in this car, and we actually got to see how it drove, and it actually drives really, really nicely. Like we were talking about in the video, it handles really well. The driving characteristics of it aren't dramatic. It's not too aggressive. There's not too much drama, but there's not too little drama either. And that's kind of the benefit of this car is while it gives you that sporty feel, and you feel the drama and you feel the excitement. It's not too much at the same time, and it's all in a compact size. And that's really the benefit about this car, is you get the 4 doors worth of practicality, you get the hatchback, you get a powerful yet small engine that's fuel efficient, and it's all safe as well. You get 4 and 5-star crash test ratings in this car. You know, it's got the side curtain airbag system, it's got the blind spot monitors, it's got adaptive cruise control, the backup camera. I mean, it's everything that you would want to keep you safe, but also in a fun package as well. So, would I buy this car? Yes, 100% I would buy this car. And would I recommend this car? Because I'm buying it, yes, I definitely would recommend this car. It's a beautiful car, it's great to look at, it's great to drive in a very compact form, which makes it one heck of a car. So thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for the rest of my videos, and if you like this video, feel free to like or subscribe, and hopefully there will be some more videos coming out sometime soon. Thank you very much for watching.